Hello everyone and welcome back to another Stormworks video. In this video we're going to be building a small modular engine outboard motor. It's actually going to be a very small and compact little design. We're going to be building two of them to add onto this boat. Now this video is not going to be a tutorial as such, it's more just going to be me building and showing you guys how to build it. Now I did actually build a outboard motor for the update. Now you can see I've got a bunch here of different engines, from outboard motors to small marine engines to massive marine engines to different car engines, which is a few weeks ago, and I never actually came around to updating it or releasing it out to you guys, so I thought I'd show you how to build your own. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump straight into the workbench and we're going to get started. So you can see I've built just a little base over here that we're going to be adding the engine onto, and then eventually we're going to be adding two of them onto the end of here. And we're going to be using one of my controllers to do this. Now the first thing we want to do is we want some way to actually turn the engines left and right. So we're going to be using some pivots. Very simple pivots, compact pivots, and go and throw one of those on. The next thing we want to do is we want to actually get the design of our engine kind of all set up. So I was thinking of doing, as I said, something relatively quite compact. So I was thinking of doing no more than probably about that size there. Let's go down. Let's kind of like just get our brief design of the engine all set up. So something like that maybe. We could do something down there too. 1, 2, and yeah, something like that. As I said, something very compact, very small. Now once we've got the design done, the next thing I want to do is I want to add some crankshafts on. Now the crankshaft allows us to obviously go and add some cylinders to it. Now as I said, we're going to go with a relatively small one. I think maybe like 5 cylinders or 3 cylinders. Once again, it's up to you on the size you want to work with. Let's just go with this so far. So let's go and add, let's do maybe, let's see, 1, 2 over here. Sure, why not? 1 and 2. Something very simple. Let's go and add some cylinders on that, and let's do a little bit of design here. So we're going to add 1 there, maybe 2 over here, and possibly 2 over here. So maybe like a 5-cylinder design. As I said, it's up to you. Have fun with it, play around with it. The next thing we're going to add is some manifolds. So we're going to connect all these banks together. So whenever you have something like this, so you can see we have 1 bank here and 1 bank here. Now these will actually talk to each other and you don't have to connect them using manifolds, but because this is on the opposite end and they're not connected, we need to use some manifold pieces for that. Okay, so we're going to go and add some. I'm going to add, let's do, I don't know, 1 over there, and let's do another 1. Possibly we could actually go, maybe get away with doing something here at the top, so maybe something like that, and we could use a straight piece over there. I think that's a T piece. Get a straight piece. Cool. So we could get rid of that and put another piece here and use a T piece. We could do that actually. So let's go and grab a T piece and let's put that over there. That way all of the cylinder banks get connected to each other. Okay, you can see all 3 are getting connected. What are we going to do for power? Well, let's go and add a clutch underneath this. Now you have to unfortunately use a clutch, because obviously you need to convert the power from the engine into something else. So we're going to be putting it down here. Now from there, we can go into a whole bunch of things. So let's just go down for now. So we're going to go down, let's go across, maybe straight, maybe down again, and then into propeller, something like that. We could play around with this and make any design we want. So let's go with propeller, and let's add 1 there. So you can kind of see how we're starting to get our shape together. We'll probably get rid of some of these blocks, to be honest. We don't need all these extra things. So we're getting a very small little engine so far. Great. The next thing is, how do we want to turn this engine on? Now we could add a drive belt top, but we're kind of occupying that space already. So I think I'm probably going to try and get away with using an electrical engine. Now we could add 1 over here. So we could come do a electrical engine just over here. So go and find an electrical engine and we'll add a small one just over there. Pretty cool. The next thing we need is our fuel and our air. Now this is going to be completely self-contained. I want everything to be in this. I want the fuel, the battery, the air, absolutely everything inside this engine. Okay, I might actually put the battery away, but we'll see how much space we have left. So let's go and add, let's do fuel, and we're going to add a fuel manifold. And we should have some space. Yeah, let's go and put it over here. Why not? There we go. So we can add one there, and then we can connect the tank to that. We're going to go with a small tank. We could add some more. As I said, you could do something like that. One there, and then another one at the top. I just want to do one. I don't want this to last too long. If you wanted to have your fuel on your boat, you could use a hose to connect that. I want this to be self-contained, so I'm going to leave it over there. The next thing is we need some exhaust. So let's go and add some exhaust on. Now, I think we can put the exhaust underneath there, and then maybe add, let's use a ram. Yeah, let's use a ram for the exhaust. So we could do something like that, and then you could have the exhaust coming out the back. Something like that. The next thing we're going to need is something to cool this engine. Now, to cool the engine, I was thinking of using an impeller pump. So we can grab that, grab a pump, and just over there, grab that, put it over there, and then I think we need to rotate it. There we go. So now we have fluid and fluid, so that's in and that's out. Perfect. Get rid of some of this base we don't need. Let's go and add another ram here at the front. Give it a nice design to it, something like that, yeah? Cool. So now that we have that, we need to connect this all up. So let's go and do some cooling. So we're going to do a cooling manifold, and this one I'm actually going to connect over to this piece over here, like so. So you can see how the cooling is there, and we're going to literally bring this up. So let's go and grab a pipe, and we're going to do around there, up there, in there. So nice little corner design. We don't have to do that. We could actually have done it a different way and maybe remove this cylinder, put the cylinder somewhere else. So you can play around with this. But this is just the design I'm going with, and we're going to add a way for the fluid to get out over there. So that takes care of everything. The only thing we're missing is a battery and some air. So let's go, and maybe we have some space over here. So why not add another T-piece and maybe an air intake. So maybe an air manifold piece there. And we could add a filter. Yeah, let's add an air filter just over there, something like that. As I said, you could play around with this. You could add this anywhere you wanted to. That's just the design that I've gone for. The only thing we're missing, as I said, is a battery. So we can go and add a battery on. Now you could put the battery on your creation if you wanted to. I want to make this completely self-contained, so we're going to do everything on our creation. Now I think I might have to find a trick here to put that on. So I'm just going to put a block there first, and then the battery, and then we can just rotate it like that. But we have the air filter that's in the way, unfortunately, so we can't actually do that. So the other option we had was to put it something like that, but then that interferes with that pipe there. So that is a slight issue. We could add it over here. We could add it underneath the creation. Possibly what we could do, we could even add it over here to something like that if we wanted to. Yeah, let's leave it like that. Why not? Probably some of you are going to be like, oh, you could have put it here, you could have put it there. Doesn't really matter, to be honest. I'm not really making this look the most prettiest that I could. This is just meant to be a fun little build to see if it's possible. So we're going to go and do some detailing now, so make it look a little bit better from what it is. Let's go and make some wedges around here. We'll just fill it in generally, just around like that. We can't actually add anything there because we need to get, there we go. So we do that and that. And this piece we can get rid of, maybe go and get some permits. Add one there, maybe another permit over there. We could add some more permits over there, another one over here. And we could add some more permits. We could even enclose this, get like an enclosed pipe. I could make it look a little better. So there we go. And then underneath here, we could go with some more wedges. So something like that, and maybe some on this side too. Cool. And what we can do, we can actually do another one over here just to hide all this stuff. So like that, get rid of that, and then put one, actually two over there, like that, and that will hide that whole section off. Cool. And you can kind of get the idea of what this engine is looking like so far. I think it looks pretty cool. You guys will let me know in the comments. So that's a nice little 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cylinder engine with cooling, with exhaust, with pretty much everything you can imagine. The only thing we're missing is a gearbox. So we're going to go over here and let's add a gearbox. Now, I think what I'm going to do is I might only use this for reverse. I'm not too sure. We'll see how we get on with our speed. I'm going to face it towards the engine also. So there we go. Fully self-contained little engine. Let's get rid of our base. And let's go and use the selection tool to add this onto our boat. So we're going to go and select it. And let's go and increase the size here. Just like so. Make sure you select the whole thing. And we're going to do cut. And we're going to go and put that on our boat. So we can go and move it across here. I think we need to move our whole creation forwards. There we go. And now let's go and find a space. So we're going to go and put it up here. Bring it back and just slot it in right there. Perfect. So put one there and let's get another engine and put two. You could obviously stack this up if you wanted to. I just think two will be enough for our build. Cool. So 1 and 2, nice and created and connected. Perfect. Now, all we theoretically need is some controllers. So this is where I'm going to use my NJ Modular Engine controllers. You don't have to use these. You could just control them with a throttle lever and a key switch if you really wanted to. I like using my controller, so that's why I'm going to add 2 of them, because I've got 2 engines. So we've got 2 controllers here. They've got a lot of features we don't need, so you could, in theory, strip a lot of the features off. But let's get everything connected. So we're going to go from engine to our controller. We don't need ECU, we don't need the transmission data. What about electricity? So we can connect all the battery stuff up. So this is, as I said, completely self-contained. I'm gonna get that connected. And then we also have a battery on our own boat. So we'll get that connected over there, maybe there and more. If we want to, we can connect that all up together. We also need a throttle lever. So let's go and add a throttle lever on here. Perfect, so we could make it the same color if we wanted to. Cool, and let's give some electricity to that. Let's go and connect everything up now. So in theory, it should be pretty straightforward. So throttle to throttle. We can connect our RPS of our engine. So RPS and RPS. I want to add a dial, I think, to read to see how much fuel we have left. So let's add a dial over here. And we'll connect that up to one of our fluid tanks. Perfect. What else do we have? On-off lever. Cool. So that's connected. We don't have a starter motor. We don't have radiator fans. We have fuel. Yes, we do. So let's connect the fuel. And let's connect the fuel over there. I think we also have air. So let's connect the air and the air over there. We have clutch. So we'll get the clutch connected. Clutch and clutch. And then we'll get the electrical engines connected. Perfect. And then the last thing we can do is go on to our seat and take the A and D for our left and right. And I like to go and just change the settings of these. Usually I put the speed at like 0.2. That's just my preference. You guys can play around with that. That way it won't switch so quickly. What's the sensitivity like on our throttle? Let's bring that down to about 50% or 60% for our throttle. Now, if you want to add some more additional features on here, you can actually add some fin rudders. Now, adding some fin rudders on here will allow you to trim this. So you could add a fin rudder here, here, and possibly another 2 on that side. So something like that and like that. That way you can use your seat, maybe like the up and down of your seat, to do trimming. So that's pretty cool. So you can go and grab up and down and connect those to all of those. Just make sure if you are using fin rudders to go and put some electricity on them. So I'm going to go and add some electricity there, and then from there to there and there. Cool. So now we have all that connected. Now we could get rid of some of the weights in the front. We could add a little bit more weight in the front, etc. We could play around with this. I just want to see if we can get this to work. Now in theory, everything has been connected. We don't need to connect anything else. And we can spawn it in and see how it's going to work. So I'm just going to spawn in here. Let's go on the back of it and just see if the left and right is going to work first. And then from there, we can see if everything else is working. So, yep, so left and right works. Perfect. Does the engine turn on? Yeah, should be idling. Pretty happy with that. Let's try go forwards. Oh, a lot of power on that. Ooh, that sounds nice. And then we can obviously come to these and check the settings on them too. Cool. So now that we've got that working, let's go over to the dock and let's test this and see if it's going to work and see how much power we get from this. Now, as I said, we could go onto our gearboxes and play around with the settings. Let's try 3 to 2 as a second option, and let's do maybe like hotkey 1 to change our gears, just in case, just for testing purposes. So we're going to go and spawn that in. That looks good, and let's go and turn it on. So it should be idling now. Yeah, it looks good. Let's go and see what it looks like. Oh, you can see the water's coming out now at the back because the pump's working for cooling. Pretty happy with this. We could actually make it 1 higher. Just looking at that, we could have increased the height a little bit. It does turn, which is cool. Let's go forwards. A nice 50% throttle. Not bad. That looks pretty cool. Fuel looks like it's doing quite well too. Let's give it some throttle. Why not? Let's see what this thing can do. Oh, wow. That is quick. Let's change gears. Whoa. Okay, definitely need some trim. We are going way too quickly. Oh my. So we had a lot of power on that. So definitely can use the gearbox to possibly change gear once we start picking up some speed. So let's try it again. And let's jump in the seat, turn it on. Let's go in here, let's increase our throttle. I'm going to play around with our trim, so I'm going to trim it down. There we go. So that's why I like the fin rudders, is you can play with the trim. Oh, we are going way too fast. Way too much throttle on this. Let's decrease the throttle. We're going so quickly. Definitely would like to add like a stabilization system or something onto that. We're going so quickly. Probably get a little more speed on that now. But yeah, and how's the fuel doing? That's not bad for 2 small little tanks. That is not bad at all. Let's give it a little more throttle. That is not bad at all. Nice little outboard motors. Now you could remove some of the cylinders if this had too much power, or you could add more. Like there is definitely space. Like if you put the fuel on your creation, that would free up an extra space for 2 more cylinders. So you could definitely add, you know, much more space and much more power if you wanted to. It's just up to you on what you really want to do. It's not that fuel efficient if you take the gear off, put the gearbox back on. It's a little bit more fuel efficient. But guys, I hope you have enjoyed this one. I know it's been a little bit quick one. As I said, this is not a tutorial on exactly how you should build your engines, or this is the best way. It's not at all. It's just how I build my engines, and it's a quick way. I know a lot of you guys have been asking, oh, you built your outboard motors when the update came out, but you haven't showed us how to do it and you haven't released it. Well, here we go, showing you guys how to build it now, and hopefully this has helped some of you that have been wanting to build these engines. You could stack these up and make some really powerful boats with some outboards, and that's what I love about these little engines. We've never been able to do this before with the standard engines that we have here in Stormworks, and it's pretty fuel efficient. How's the temperature, by the way? 29 degrees. Not bad at all. Anyway guys, if you have enjoyed this video, smash that like button. If you want to obviously keep an eye out for any future content, hit that subscribe button and hit that little bell icon to be notified when I release my new videos. And let me know your comments in the description below. And until the next one, we will see you then.